Yeah. So what could possibly go wrong? There's no way you could feel disconnected as a couple in your relationship.
Welcome to Startup Spouses, where we help entrepreneurial couples take their relationship from mediocre to mind-blowing. I'm Marie, a relationship and sex coach.
I'm Adam. I'm a business coach.
And today, we have been hearing a lot about balance. And the first question people ask you, because I'm sure that they get nervous when they talk to me because they feel like I'm going to judge them on things. So the basic question that I get asked the most is how do you balance your relationship and your business? Because it feels like one runs into the other. I mean, we're spending time together, right?
Right. Yeah, when we're in our business, I mean, we're not only running a relationship together, we're building a business together. So we're spending all sorts of time together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what could possibly go wrong? There's no way you could feel disconnected as a couple in your relationship if you're building a business together.
Especially when you spend all this time together. You should be able to be communicating with each other, no problem.
Right. Just like every business in the world operates that way with communication and harmony and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a deep topic, and I think one that like there's a lot of opinions on this and the idea of balance. Like, how do you get it? Should you even try to have balance or what have you? But yeah, well, I'd love to hear kind of where your mind's at on that.
Well, I would like to stray away from the word balance.
Okay.
Because I think it's just gotten so much negativity from it. I mean, it's been overused, and the fact that we are continuing to have these conversations about it, meaning that maybe we're talking about it wrong.
Say more about that, because I'm curious to know like why you want to like based on what you've learned on the relationship side, why you'd want to veer away from the idea of balance of work-life balance.
Because I think that there's some point in time that you need to work a little bit more than you need in a day, like you have a deadline,
right?
Because I know that that's part of other people's lives too.
I see. Yeah.
And things can happen in a business as well,
right?
So is there a true scale that you're putting your relationship and business on? Like
888, like 8 in the business, like. Well, no, I've literally heard this.
888. What is that?
888. It's what dolphins say when they're really excited. 888. Sorry, no, it's just stupid. But no, like 888 is something that I've heard in the past. That generally speaking, you should spend 8 hours at work, 8 hours with the family, 8 hours sleeping, and that's like the ideal quote unquote balance, right?
Yeah.
Is it always going to work out like that?
No, it's never going to work out like that. We all know that.
Yeah, especially when you're running the business.
It's like is that setting people up for failure?
Right. And what if you can work yourself into a situation where if I mean, the benefit of like running a business, like I mean, the reason you and I are getting into business is not so we can be working 100-hour weeks in this business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really so that we can build something that is able to operate effectively without us. And if you're building a business, especially maybe a family business or a business with your spouse, something that you want to last generationally, chances are, unless you love working 100-hour weeks and like in what you're doing in the day to day, then great. But for most entrepreneurs, you're looking to build a business that you can have personal freedom. So maybe that 888 turns into like 4 12 8, or if you're really really exhausted or you like to sleep a lot, 4 8 12. Who knows? Like but I mean, right? I mean, like I think but we get into this trap as entrepreneurs or as business owners of feeling like we have to control everything, and feeling like we're grinding at the beginning of starting a business. And so if we get to the point where we don't have to necessarily grind anymore, it's like, uh-oh, what's wrong? Like, I feel like you just kind of jump into it. So there's more to that, but I was just kind of like, I guess, extrapolating a little more on that 888 idea.
Okay, well, I think we should just throw the 888 out the window.
Yeah.
Because we all know, I was like, you think about it, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
It's not, yeah, it's not definitely not going to work in practice.
yeah, exactly. These strategies are not the problem here. The problem here is with the individuals that are in this and your state of mind
Yeah.
when you are trying to connect with another human being.
Right. So what I'm hearing here is it's not necessarily about balance. It's about prioritization. What do you think?
And intentionality.
Intentionality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think maybe goes hand in hand with prioritization, like being intentional
Yeah.
about where you want to, where you're spending your time. Yeah.
Exactly. Where you, where you can get the most bang for your buck too.
Yeah. Yeah. Emphasis on the bang part.
It's like where do
Sorry,
you,
folks. We don't have an HR department. Just,
we can flirt with each other. It's
That's
great.
good.
Yeah. So, well, let's just look at it. Like, okay, in your business, let's talk to the men in the room. Like, in your business, what are you doing during the day that gives you the most, what is it called? The
satisfaction or
not
fulfillment?
satisfaction. Where are you putting your priorities in your work right now to build it out, like the business out?
Gotcha.
The best. Like, what 20% of work are you doing to make 80% of the profit? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah,
okay.
20/80 rules is like really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Great way to go there. Yeah.
If you think
yeah.
of it that way,
Right.
like think of it that way.
Yeah.
Where are you putting your time in? Where specifically are you putting your time in your job? Ask that in your relationships.
Yeah.
What are you doing in your relationships? And that's a question for those people out there,
Yeah.
because all this talk about business and how we're relating it to relationship. A lot of people out there are thinking like, what are they talking about? That's so unromantic, or
Yeah.
like, what is the count?
Oh,
There's
you gotta-
something
yeah,
there's
you gotta-
triggered in their
yeah.
brain right now
Yeah.
that we're saying that's opposed to what everybody else has been saying.
Right. Yeah, you got a bunch of comments on that saying no, like the yeah. I mean, just the idea, especially like when you're posting on social media about this idea of like, hey, yeah, having an operating system for individually for yourself, similar to like it's like you're getting a lot of pushback on that from a lot of people saying like, no, they should know how we operate or all this kind of stuff. It's like. Yeah, I mean, no, it is running like a business. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what is so interesting about listening to us, and I mean, you can turn us off, but if something, but if something is like in your brain going, what? Why would they do it that way?
Yeah.
It's because we tried doing it the other way, which we didn't see any fulfillment or like joy in our lives. We still went back to working as hard as we can, pushing through the pain. And in the wake of this, I know a lot of people who have destroyed their relationships too.
Right. Yeah. And when you attach a business to that and a family to that and all of that stuff, it becomes a lot more chaotic and traumatic for all involved, because now you have to not just dissolve a relationship. You're dissolving perhaps a business, or there's different legal dynamics in there if you didn't set up the business correctly with your spouse and all this stuff. And I know we're getting kind of maybe off track with the balance idea or prioritization or whatever we're going to call it.
We're not using the word
I know,
balance
we're not using. I'm
anymore.
sorry.
You
So,
keep using that
I know.
word.
Shame on me.
Throw it out the window.
So, and so I guess bringing back to that, just to kind of tie a bow on that point, though. Yeah, you've got if you're not intentional about that, then then you're potentially putting all of these other elements at risk too. Not to mention just the integrity of your entire relationship, and that which you want to make great. So, I guess what are we calling if we're not using the B word? What are we gonna call it? I mean, what are we talking about here? What's the goal? What is the outcome we want to achieve then?
Connection.
Okay.
Yes.
So enhancing connection. So we're
Connection and
using
love.
connection instead of the B word.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then what? So if that's the outcome we really want, and this is a great exercise and another example of why, approaching kind of the business mindset towards relationships is so powerful, because now we're looking at like deeper, like, hey, why are we measuring this? Why are we looking at this? And then, so bringing it back all the way back to outcomes. What is the outcome that you truly want? Is it really balance? I know I said the word again. Like, is that the thing? Or, or is it connection? Now, when I think of balance, if I can go back to why we shouldn't use that word again.
You're using the should word too with it. Have you noticed that you're using should
I'm using
and should and also balance at the same time?
Oh, wow. Okay. So what's that mean? What does that say about me?
I think that means like what is expected of us
Yeah.
in our relationship. What does society say that we need to be?
Yeah. Well, I think that's an important point. Mm-hmm. All of the what we're talking about here. I mean, we have these deeply entrenched beliefs and ideas about what we believe a relationship should be. Mm-hmm. The romantic ideal of like, you should understand absolutely everything about me. You should get everything you want from me, while also both of us working these grand careers that are bringing in loads of money, that, and that we're happily ever after, all this kind of stuff. But when I think about like the idea of balance, I mean, think about, if you've ever been on, remember those, like, I don't remember what they were, but they were like those, you had this ball on this platform. It kind of looked, it was like this, it looked like Saturn in some ways. Like back in the 80s and 90s, there was this toy where you like kind of jumped up and down on it, right?
Pogo Ball.
It was a Pogo Ball. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, I had one too. Everyone had one. It was great. Put on my hammer pants and went outside on my Pogo Ball and just started like busting out jams to Vanilla Ice. And I would like, okay, Aerosmith. I don't know, but like, you remember balancing on those things? Trying to balance on those things?
Yeah.
Remember how much energy that took?
Yeah.
It was energy intensive to try to constantly balance. That's the same in our lives. When we're attempting to keep everything in balance, mm-hmm. we're exerting a lot of energy trying to balance.
Yeah.
It's true in business.
Keep using the
true in a
word.
relationship. I know. I'm going to stop, but I'm only using it in terms of why we shouldn't use it, right?
Yeah.
Why that shouldn't be the outcome. And so going back to that scorecard idea of like what, or like, the outcome idea, look at the right outcome. What is it truly you want? Do you truly want balance? Because balance, to me, when I'm thinking of balancing on a Pogo Ball, it's a lot of energy and it's a lot of anxiety. When am I going to fall? When's everything going to fall apart? That balance is not sustainable unless you're constantly exerting a lot of energy. So what's the alternative word, or so what's the outcome that we want?
Connection and fulfillment.
Yeah.
I think that we should also try to understand our relationship with work. Mm-hmm. Are you working 100 hours? What is the purpose of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you having people who should be the jobs that you're doing? Are you doing your job, or are you doing everybody's job mm-hmm. in this whole thing?
Yeah.
Like, are you working to go somewhere, or are you escaping from something?
Right.
So it's all these questions that you have, and then in the midst of that, mm-hmm. are you going to work and also thinking to yourself, wow, I should be with my family, and feeling guilty? So your mind is not focused on work.
Right. Right. And
so,
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's kind of like that aspect. You go to work and you're like, oh, I should be here, I should be doing that, and then you're not focused. You're not focused on your relation. You're not focused on your business. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing that when you go into and spend time with your family or your relationship with your partner, you should be focusing on them and not what work is doing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So you'll know how to cut this in, right? Okay. Oh, so that actually brings up a point. So in addition to not talking about the B word, but talking about fulfillment or connection, how about, like, what I'm hearing here is that it's about presence.
Yes.
Because if I'm with the family and I'm thinking about all things work, and if I'm at work and thinking like I should be with my family, you're always somewhere else. So presence is that idea. And I think, one of the tools I kind of want to share here, I think that's important, is because when we're talking about connection, I think, and the intentional connection that you're talking about, I think it's important to compartmentalize when you're in the business and when you're in the relationship. So my deeply rooted experience in family business comes into play here, and what I learned by running a family business and how that plays into family. There's a model that was put out by two Harvard professors related to family business, and it's called the Three Circles model. And I think it's also relevant in the relationship business. So when you're working or building a business with a spouse, so because that is a family business, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like a mom and pop shop, or it could be something that you're building like a side hustle or anything like that. But it's absolutely relevant here. And so this Three Circles model, it was the most eye-opening framework that I've learned about within the family business world. And when I learned about it, it was a holy shit moment. Like, it was like, oh, that's why I'm feeling so miserable and unbalanced, and that all of my relationships are transactional with my family, is because that this Venn diagram that I learned about was all just one giant blob that enmeshed the family, the business, the ownership, all into this one thing.
Yeah.
So that when the family was in the business, when we were having conversations about the business, and I had to hold people in the family accountable, it was all around like, but you can't do that. I'm family, and or we're all family here. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, this is a business, and this compartmentalization model basically says that there are three circles in a family business, and this is true within a business that's built by a husband and wife, or spouses, or brothers, or whomever. First generation through an infinite number of generations. But one of those circles is the family.
Yes.
Let's call that the spouses here, the relationship in this case, right? That's one circle. Another circle in this Venn diagram is the business. And the business is supposed to be running like a business. And those two overlap, but they're not completely overlapped. There's just an overlap in them. And then on the top is the ownership, the other part is the ownership. That's the other circle. Each of those circles should be completely different from another. Like they should be separate from one another. In other words, when we're in the business, when we're operating as business partners, you and I, we're operating as business partners, not husband and wife.
Yes.
Not brother and sister or anything like that. It's husband and wife.
Yeah.
So we're running our meetings for the greater good of the business. So each of those circles, consider that individually a greater good. And you have to be focused on that greater good when you're in that circle. So the business greater good is the success of the business, or whatever that vision is, whatever that longer term vision is. And you have to operate that business on an operating system so that you can pursue the greater good, and so that you can live within the boundaries of what that business says, right? There's great systems out there, and we've talked about them before, like EOS or whatever, to make sure that you're operating in that business. Then there's a relationship circle, and the same is true there. You do not bring the business circle into the relationship circle. No. While both of you may be partners in the business, you're now partners in the relationship, and you compartmentalize that. That too needs an operating system, and so does the ownership circle. So let's bring it to the relationship circle for a moment, and like knowing that those three circles basically exist, and they should be separate and intentionally separate. How does that play into the idea of connection and presence and the B word that shall remain unspoken?
Do you want to know the secret tool?
The secret tool?
Yeah, it's a secret, super secret tool in order.
It really? I don't want to hear about it. So good night. See everybody. Oh, okay, let's hear about it. Yeah, what is it?
It's called transition.
Transition. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, tell me more.
So we work at home.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if we worked in a business, like separate from each other, we would have a commute home.
Yes.
So during that commute, what do you do usually? Remember when you used to work?
Oh yeah,
separately?
I remember I used to work.
Yeah.
I don't work anymore.
No. I'm talking about an office.
Yeah,
we worked at offices.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we would have a transition from home to work.
Yep.
And work to home.
Long commute. Yeah.
Yes, you had a way longer commute than I did. So
Right.
most of the time.
But yeah, we both had pretty long commutes, but it was, yeah, but you're right. There was,
There's that transition there.
yeah, a period of time. Yeah.
Yeah. So my philosophy when I was like, even before I was in a relationship, to go from home to business, you had that transition period. You get that focus. You're like, I'm in customer service. So therefore I need to present myself as somebody who knows their stuff,
Right.
and is confident and comfortable with having communication with customers. I transitioned in from being at home to going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know about you. I play music, sing, get myself pumped up to do something. That transition to do that. So and during that transition, you also do that on the way home too.
Right.
I used to call my friends, just talk about, or like talk about stuff like that happened at work that was annoying me, and then I get home.
Yeah.
So having a transition from being at work and being in a relationship is the gap where you
Right.
need that. And then even from your relationship into intimacy, there needs to be a transition too.
Yeah.
So if you're going from one activity to another activity, this is what we did with our kids. Like my son, I would prime him.
Yeah.
Hey, we're leaving in about 10 minutes, and then it would be 5, and then it would be 1, because if I didn't, he would throw a fit, like he was concentrating on his Legos at home, and we had to go out the door.
But Legos are super cool, Marie.
No. So that in itself is super important, especially for neurodivergent people like us. That transition plays an important role.
Yeah.
So that we can be intentional and focused and present with each other.
Right.
Because we're setting those intentions during our transition.
Yeah. Oh, then something else came to mind with regard to another alternative to that B word.
What?
Well, because as you're talking about this transition, what I'm hearing right there is that it sounds like you're transitioning between different energies. There's a work energy.
Yeah.
There's a relationship or family energy. There's a sexual energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a variety of different energies. So what I'm hearing in that quote unquote B word there is an attunement to energy.
Yeah.
That happens in that transition. Is that right? Like, so we have to spend a little time in that transition. Like, let's all go to the lobby. That kind of, right? I don't know. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
You are so old sometimes.
Dang it. Everybody remembers drive-in movies and the...
No.
Yes. Anyway, but like, I think during that transition, what I'm hearing there is that at that time you should be also presence of mind to attune to the energy you're moving into.
Yeah.
Like, is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
I don't think you should just bolt out of your room
Right.
and then go straight to dinner. Like
Yeah.
that's not the way that you're going to operate, because your mind's going to still be in work mode.
right. Well, because I remember, like, even when I was commuting in the office, like an hour commute from work, it wasn't like that was like a time for me to like be super chill and and manage my nervous system. It was like sitting in traffic, getting annoyed, and like bringing all of that garbage from work with me. I just carried that garbage everywhere back then.
Yeah.
And so of course I was carrying that in. I didn't do that transition effectively. I didn't attune to the new energy.
Yeah.
I was staying in the old negative energy. So I guess now that we're taking some of that, if we're not commuting, so we're working at home now. Imagine a lot of couples that we're talking to are obviously working together in the same business. How does that transition look with those couples as they're transitioning between these circles, so to speak?
How does it look? It looks like attuning to yourself first and foremost, and seeing what you need in that moment. Yeah. Like, am I hungry?
How do you do that? Like, what are the tools? Like, what do you recommend from that standpoint in like transitioning out of work? Like, say you have a really difficult day in that work mode, where you're working and you're maybe you're disagreeing on something on a vision or a direction or a decision. You just have that disagreement there. But hey, it's 4:30 and we're gonna call it quits now, and we're gonna shift into relationship mode. How do you do that and like kind of move into those two departments?
My favorite way to do that is to take a walk. It's to get outside.
Together or just alone? Like are you saying like this is a personal time too?
I think it's a personal time. I don't.
Yeah.
Transition should be your attunement to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I think is important is to figure out what's going on, what you need in that moment. So going outside, taking a walk, don't take your phone and start scrolling through different. You need to listen to yourself. Do I need water? Do I need food? Do I just need to keep walking and using this energy and getting it all out that way before having a conversation with your spouse?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that if you're like, say like it's a scale between 0 and 10.
Yeah.
And when you're communicating with your spouse, say on a subject that might be a little bit more difficult, are you going to have a conversation when you're at a 10, meaning you are a 10 alarm fire?
Like you're super elevated?
Stupid,
kind of
elevated,
Yeah.
anxious, pissed off, you name it. Are you going to have a conversation? You think that's going to be effective?
Right.
Or are you going to have it down to 1 or 2? Which way is going to be more effective?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to get down to the 1 or 2.
1 to 2.
Yeah.
And so the best way is to do something, use your energy, take a walk, be in nature, be out in the sunshine. Or if you can't be outside, taking a few breaths like you do.
So regulate the nervous system. in some
Yes,
ways.
you want to
Okay.
regulate your nervous system
Yeah.
before you go transition to another different level.
I like
Because
that.
even if you need to have another conversation before the day is done, you're at a lower level. Because if you have it at a higher level, it's just going to exacerbate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a very my memory is really, really terrible, but it is pretty great when I'm elevated and pissed off because I remember everything that's wrong.
True story. Like, how did you remember that? Like, you're wearing one shoe, and you remember what happened 14 years ago, like on a Saturday night. Yeah.
Exactly. It's true.
Yeah, yeah.
So
By the way, you have like 14 pairs of glasses around the house, and you were always like, "Where are my glasses?" It's
And my
hilarious.
phone.
And
Where's
your
my phone?
Yeah. Your phone. I'll do this trick because play. Of like, I'll when I see your phone lying around and I hear the chime go off that you're looking for
no.
from your iPhone or your whatever watch, I will like hide it in like different places, so you have to search for it. It's so funny because it's usually in an obvious place, like on the countertop, and you're just like, I don't know where it is. It's funny. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
So having these transitions, like this is fun. I mean, even being playful too.
Yeah.
But if you are having a very stressful day, get outside, do something,
Yeah.
do some activity.
Just breathe.
Breathe,
I mean, like,
yeah,
I
breathe
mean,
too. If you can't, if you're not mobile, or you don't have the ability to go outside,
Yeah.
do some deep breaths, regulate your nervous system, breathe in. It's as simple as breathing in and then breathing out like twice as long.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And I'll say, you will wonder if you've never done that before. Like for 5 breaths, you'll be wondering, this doesn't work. This is bullshit. This is stupid. And then by like 6 or 7, you're like, okay, I feel it. Guarantee just 10 of those breaths, no more than a couple minutes, and it helps you to regulate. And so that's a great way, I think, of transitioning, like just transitioning between. And it could go back both ways because there's a lot of times like, especially when couples are working together, like if you and I are working together, where maybe there's a relationship issue that is unresolved at this point, and we've just like said, okay, we need to table this and talk about it later because it's a conflict and we need to somehow resolve it, but we're still heated about that, or there's still sitting in there somewhere, and then we get to work, and just something trivial might happen of like, oh, we didn't work on this part of a project, and it comes out, well, maybe if you weren't texting that blah 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 or whatever, it's just like that kind of comes out there.
Yeah.
And that's, so it's important to separate those out. Remember, greater good on both. What's the greater good of the relationship? What's the greater good of the business? And always be focused on that and present in both of those circles when you're in those circles.
Yes.
That's the, now let me just qualify that. It's easy to hear that and like have this eureka moment of like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like, yeah, we definitely have to do that. In practice, it's more difficult. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do it perfectly. There is no perfection in that. These are still relationships. There's still emotions involved in all of it. But at least the self-awareness gets you towards that idea of building the systems around it.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the operating systems in the business, in the relationship, so that you can better control those controllables.
Yeah. So there's an operating system for the transition. It's a toolbox.
Yeah.
Some tools work better on some days and some tools work better on others days.
Yeah.
Walking, breathing. If it's bothering you, write it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Do something creative. If you play an instrument, go play an instrument. Take 10, 15 minutes and go and do that. Go sing.
Creative activities,
Go do a dance party. There's so many different things that you can do that change your mindset. Listen to music. That's another one too.
Yeah.
Is listening to music, is a great opportunity for a different transition. You can it's amazing how fast you can change your mood by listening to a certain song.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, creative activities, great way to transition and regulate that nervous system. And I think, so we're kind of, we've talked a little bit about the idea of the transition, which I think is a brilliant concept for transitioning between those compartments of business and relationship, making sure that you're intentional about sitting in both of those so that we don't have to talk about the B word. And I've heard that presence is an important part of that fulfillment and energy attunement are important. So what other tools do we have to try to work through to get that, the word that we shall not be saying, the B word that we shall be saying?
Because it's connection. Well,
Connection,
it's connection. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Sure. And say more about that, because I want to see, like, is there's an intentional connection that I'm hearing within each of those compartments. Like, so what does that look like on the relationship level?
I believe it is trying to be vulnerable and open and loving with each other. And whether that's getting curious about your partner and asking questions, I always come up with some interesting questions.
You do?
Yes, I do. I was like, like if you were an animal, what animal would you be, or something? Like those are like off topic, but I mean,
no, but those are great questions though. Because
yeah.
I like those off the wall questions because it really does get you to think. And it actually, if you have a discussion, when we have discussions around those questions, like what animal would you be? It's like, oh, you get into why, and it like, kind of like goes into a deeper meaning of like who you are. And it helps you understand one another's operating system. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. So curiosity is very important about your spouse. It's like what would make you feel really super happy in this moment?
Yeah.
Like what should we do? Should we put on some music? Should we sit here and take a walk, hold hands, or I do like the breathing and the looking into each other's eyes, sort of thing that helps.
Yeah.
Super uncomfortable at the beginning, but super effective.
Yeah.
As you sit with that uncomfortableness.
Absolutely, but that's a meaningful connection.
Yeah, that is a really meaningful connection. You don't even have to say anything. If you can't figure the words to say, that's a great way to connect.
Yeah, and it's often the most powerful connections are met with discomfort. In other words, like with that eye gazing thing, like that is literally just like facing each other as close as you can be and just looking into each other's eyes. and then breathing, aligning each other's breathing. And that's really like a tantric process. It's not like that. It doesn't even have to be sexual. It's just like that's a very tantric meditative connection, and it can become very spiritual, and it can be lasting, because I think that's what makes us like. I mean, the way we look into each other's eyes now, even as we're having this conversation, is not the same as it was before we started doing that process, right? I mean, because even when you're connecting eyes, it's like there's kind of a lot of like your brain might be tweet, 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 tweet,
Yeah.
but it's like here, it's just more presence. You learn to be more present in that process, and I really love that.
Yeah. So that it's like having the curiosity, asking the questions, taking the time to really connect on a level of getting uncomfortable. And I know it is, because if you saw me not too very long ago, I was like hiding my face. It's like laughing, giggling.
Yeah.
Even if you're laughing and giggling, you're connecting in that way, because it's fun. I mean, doing something silly
Right.
also can help you connect together.
Yeah.
So flirting and asking each other more meaningful questions, like, tell me about your desires, or tell me about that's even going quite deep, is talking about fantasies and core desires too.
Right.
Those, really connect on a level and teach you a lot about your partner.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. And I also think this is where the power of the rhythms come into play, with our Spark system, the rhythms of our weekly meetings, of our quarterly, kind of meetings, and of course our annual kind of planning that we go through every year. Because in that time we create a vision for what we want, not just in our business, but in our lives. And I think what that sets the stage for, kind of going back to I'm going to say the bad word, the life balance that is important to us. Like what that looks like. What's the what our lives, what we want our lives to unfold as, gives us the intention of how we should be operating today to make that connection, and really be more self-aware of how we're operating with each other in the business and in our relationship. And so what I mean by that is like, if you can set an intention in your business, because a lot of times the balance equation comes between business and life, which includes the relationship, right? And that's really what we're talking about. And a lot of times it could involve kids, all that kind of stuff. But if you can put a strong vision and plan and execution into place on how you're visualizing your business, what you want that to unfold on, up to and including how much time you actually want to spend in that business. Do you want that business that you're in, that you're building with your spouse, to just spin off loads of cash for you in the future without your involvement? Well, that's a different type of activity that you're going to be having to do now to build that business. If you want to continue to be in it, I'm going to argue that you should probably still do the latter.
Yes, exactly.
You should always be looking to build a business that is exitable, that has the inherent value, that you can exit, that you can sell it at any time without your involvement. Because if you're not doing that, life circumstances external circumstances are going to force that. There's 5 Ds that can disrupt your business. There's disability, there's death, there's divorce. Exactly. There is I'm gonna forget what the other 2 are, but there's those circumstances that can immediately and unpredictably impact your business. And if you're not prepared to exit, then that exit's not going to go well for you. If you are prepared, if you have the systems in place in your business that you've not just maximized financial capital, which of course is important, but that you've removed yourself from the day-to-day in that business, you've maximized the human capital, which is the people that you have in your business. You've maximized the structural capital, which is how your business is structured from the standpoint of the functions that you need, all the way to how it's organized. The social capital, which is your culture and how you're represented to your community, and of course the customer capital, which is the quality of your customers, so that there's not a whole lot of customer concentration, and you're building wildly loyal clients that bring in recurring revenue, and that you maximize, and all of those four capitals seek to support that financial capital. Then you have a business that is inherently of maximum value and for whatever you're building. It's also a business that can operate more effectively without you, and you can do the things in that business that you want to do, like be the visionary or be the CEO or the integrator or whatever that looks like to you. But you don't. But if you are forced into it, or if you choose to, you can exit out. You can work as many hours as you want. And that's the goal with building in a business, is that you can spend more time in the relationship side with the person that you love, with the people that you love. Mm-hmm. And that's really just kind of like that crash course on how to structure a family business. Too many family businesses, and this includes spouses, do this wrong and reject that at their peril. And I see it all the time. There's no, sorry, I'm on my soapbox, but there's no coincidence that the divorce rate in the world is so high, because people aren't prioritizing the relationship in the very ways that we're talking about, and we've learned, and we're still continuing to build upon. And that 60% of family businesses don't even make it to the second generation. And I mean, that's like, if they can get beyond the first 10 years of being in business, because most companies that are started don't. Most startup businesses that are started by spouses or individually go out of business. They do. And a lot of it comes down to the relationships and the failure to be really organized around those relationships, or the failure to strengthen those five capitals that I just talked about. But if you can, then you can build a sustainable business that is exitable, that allows you to focus on your relationship and build the life and the lifestyle that you want to live. It's yours for the taking. Super simple, not easy, but if you reject it, your chances of going out of business and getting divorced skyrocket.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Wow, that's really kind.
Well, no.
No, I get it. Like, it's doing the work, and that's why you are focused on the business side, and I'm focusing more on the relationship side.
Right.
Because us together, working together, makes it better for people to understand this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think because the two do go hand in hand. There's still an overlap there.
Yes, there is still overlap. Mm-hmm. That's why we work together really well, too.
Right.
I mean, even that that's the case. We've always focused, even when we worked at restaurants together, we focused on customers and all this stuff too. We were kind to each other.
Yeah.
We weren't mean and rude to each other, but our focus was different than when we were outside of work too.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it all, again, comes down to, I think, what's the greater good in each of those.
Yeah.
And being intentional about that. Yeah.
What you are saying is being present.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Being intentional about how you're running your business too. It's also how you run your relationship. You're intentional and you prioritize.
Yeah.
Prioritize?
Yeah.
Prioritize. Why can't I say that word?
You did. You said it like 3 times.
4 now. But I'm not counting.
Yep.
Anyways. So, but you're prioritizing how to run your business better.
Yes.
How to run your relationship better.
Yeah.
So, and in between that is your transition between the two of them to make it a lot easier for you to go from A to B.
Yes. Yes.
So it's not about, because the word, and I'm going to say it out loud, is balance. That's not what you kept saying it. That's not what we want.
Right.
What we want is to feel connected and fulfilled, and that somebody's prioritizing us. That if I just sat here on my phone and just like that's what I was doing all day, would you feel connected to me?
Right.
Are you that way with your customers or your clients? No,
Right.
we're not.
Yeah.
I mean, the best businesses, forgive me if I'm wrong, but they know about their customers.
They
They
learn
know
their customers'
they
love
learn
languages.
and they learn what?
They learn their customers' love languages.
Exactly. They love languages, what they like, what they like to do outside of work,
Yeah.
and you build upon that. That's the same with relationships. Why are we treating it differently?
Yeah. Amen. I agree. So yeah, I think and I think that really kind of captures it. There's a lot of similarities there, and there's the intentionality of keeping those two things, the business and the relationship, separate, and bridging that gap through transition, so that you can be more present in both, and also building out that long-term vision, both in your relationship and your business, so that you can live the life and build the lifestyle that you want in your business. Otherwise, your business is running you, and your business is running your relationship, and that whole business side is swallowing up the relationship circle. You just have to be more intentional about building those systems in both to make them more effective. And if you're feeling heavy about that, if that feels heavy, unromantic, or just kind of like, that just sounds like a lot. Trust me, it's against the alternative of just constantly reacting to the chaos and bringing all that stuff with you and having that overlap there. I mean, setting up the systems for both, it gives you that capacity to lean into the excitement, the joy, the fulfillment, the spontaneity of things that do come up.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I like that. Any final thoughts on all of this episode that was not about balance, but was more about connection, presence, energy attunement? Yeah.
It's funny. It's if you practice it in both your business and your relationship, you'll find out that you have more, what you said, capacity.
Yes. Yeah.
To be able to have the spontaneity, the creativity, the fun, the enjoyment, everything. I mean, I can get into a whole episode about the fun part about it, but we're setting up these structures for a reason.
Yeah.
Is so that you can be able and feel comfortable and feel safe.
Yeah.
And to be able to play.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You almost got the whole spark.
Yeah. So you feel more aligned.
Yeah. And develop the rhythms.
Yeah.
And you can be continuously growing through Kaizen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's great. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap it. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode and the challenges that you run into when you're running a business as partners and building a life as partners. We'd love to hear about, like, how does that overlap going for you? If you want to comment in the comment section, reach out to us directly. Either way is great. We'd just love to hear from you and know where those challenges are and what's working for you. As we continue to build this platform, it's so important that we hear these stories and know how that's hitting you. And if you like this episode and if you feel like somebody can benefit from it, please share it with a friend. We have a new resource that we're putting out there that is a connection. That's basically a couples connection workbook that can help you to build the rhythm of connection with your spouse so that you can be more intentional about being present in that relationship circle and show up better. Because when you're building that relationship when you're strengthening that relationship, that's the thing that's going to strengthen everything else, including your business, including your family and your community. So, and it's just real damn fun. That's
yeah,
all.
exactly.
So we have that out. Hopefully we have links in the show notes by now. We're still in the process of kind of building it and putting it out there, but we're really excited about that. It's free to download, and it's a huge value. So I really suggest you take that on and you practice it with your spouse.
And it all takes is 20 minutes a week. So it's not any time that real exact time that but it's an ability for you to connect with your significant other too. So,
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
Please like, rate, subscribe, do all the things to help us to spread the word of this show and this platform. And we hope to hear from you. And we hope to see you next time on Stardust Spouses. Thanks for joining us.